Hi, I'm Laura. 11 years ago, my boyfriend Luke and I set off for a gap year that accidentally changed our lives. Since we left home in 2010, we have lived in New Zealand, Australia, South Korea, Mexico, and are now living in Lithuania. These videos are a small window into the adventures we seek along the way. Good afternoon from a cloudy, slightly drizzly, but still crisp and fresh autumn day here in Lithuania. I am coming to you today to share something that I think is a really interesting part of the Lithuanian culture and history that I knew absolutely nothing about before coming here, and I imagine that most people who have never been to Lithuania before don't know about it either. And that is that just like in Mexico, on the 1st of November, the people of Lithuania celebrate a sort of Day of the Dead. And yes, it's a Catholic holiday, it's a Christian day of worship, All Souls Day, All Saints Day, on the 1st and 2nd of November. But just like in Mexico, here in Lithuania, this day has been celebrated on differing days of the year, but usually around this time of year in autumn at the end of the sort of harvesting period. People, they go and they pay their respects to their ancestors and their family members who have passed, who have come before them. And this was happening long before Christianity arrived here in Lithuania. Here in Lithuania, it is called Vėlinės. And on the 1st of November, families go to the cemeteries with candles and with flowers. A few weeks beforehand, they clean the graves to make sure everything is nice and respectable for the night of the 1st. And yeah, the cemeteries are all lit up. It's very beautiful and incredibly similar to the traditional way of celebrating Day of the Dead in Mexico. So yeah, it's a beautiful coincidence and one that I'm looking forward to sharing more with you in this video. Obviously, I'm a newcomer to Lithuania. I've only been here a few months. I still have a lot to learn about the history and the culture. So I was able to sit down with a new friend, Šarūnas, who runs the Real Lithuanian podcast. And I'll let him explain what it's really like as a Lithuanian here on Vėlinės. I am here with Šarūnas of the Real Lithuanian podcast today.
Yep. Hello. Hi. Labas.
And we're going to talk a little bit about Vėlinės?
Vėlinės. Yep.
Which is kind of, based on my understanding and reading, a little bit sort of like the Lithuanian Day of the Dead. And I'm not sure if you know, but I used to live in Mexico.
Yeah, I know that.
It's a huge holiday there. It's pretty interesting to sort of come here and see that you have similar traditions, similar sort of like pagan-esque.
I mean, you know, it's funny to compare Lithuanians to Mexicans, of course. But, well, you know, they're Catholic and we're also Catholic. And I think that's, you know, in most Catholic countries, it's similar. But, you know, I think it's probably the opposite of what they had in Mexico. Because it's a really solemn, I wouldn't even call it a celebration. It's like a day of commemorating things.
Okay.
And especially not so much things as people. And in fact, there are actually 2 days that we you know, that are special in November. That's the 1st of November and the 2nd of November.
Okay.
In modern understanding, both of them, you know, they just kind of blended into one, I don't know, special day, holiday.
Yeah.
Especially because both of them are, you know, bank holidays, people don't work, and that's what most people are going to enjoy this year, I'm sure.
But you do something that a lot of Catholic countries don't do, which is go to the cemeteries.
Absolutely.
And sort of, yeah, like is there still a belief that like the spirits are coming back, or is it more now just a tradition?
Well, you know, yeah, so, you know, like I said, 2 separate celebrations, right? So well, I think the 1st of November is the Day of All Saints, while the 2nd of November is the Day of All Dead. So, you know,
okay,
they are 2 separate special days, but in modern understanding, we just see it as one. We call it Vėlinės. So a fun fact is that Vėlinės is probably coming, you know, this name is probably derived from an old Lithuanian word vėlė, which is, you know, stands for a spirit, a person's spirit, and we don't say it like that anymore. We say siela, and but you know, Vėlinės, that's definitely related, right? And you're right, yeah, it's all about mostly going to the cemetery. I don't think people do anything other than that. They also go to church. Some people do, but it's I think, you know, most of the people now are quite, I don't know, secular, you know, so they don't go to church as often as before.
And when you go to the cemetery, what do you do?
Well, you know, first off, you go to the cemetery a week or 2 weeks prior to that, because you want to make sure that everything looks nice and tidy. So, you know, if, you know, most people care about their, you know, like deceased relatives, so they want to make sure that the graves look in really good condition. So they take care of everything, clean everything, maybe plant some, I don't know, replace the flowers and plants and things like that. And so you make sure everything's ready, and then on the 1st or on the 2nd of November, you go to the cemetery. Usually, you know, the whole family goes, or whoever can, they go, and well, it's you absolutely have to light up a candle.
Okay.
You know, that's definitely the most common thing people do.
Yeah.
And the candle definitely symbolizes the, you know, well, first of all, it shows that you care about the people who are gone. You think about them, and usually there's more than one candle, and it's when it gets dark, and it does very, you know, quickly in November. I'm sure you've noticed that, right? So yeah, it really actually becomes quite beautiful, because, you know, there are many candles.
And once you're there and you light the candles, is it like, do you talk to the person that's there? Do you say a prayer? Or is it just sort of like something you do, you go and you go home?
You know, I mean, we're efficient people. We go to
Northern Europeans,
exactly,
in and out.
Straight to the point, you know. I mean, there is no talk to the dead, right? Because there is no answer.
Okay.
But yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, sure, we go to the graveyard and we put the candle in there, and sure, you know, in your mind you definitely talk, but it's mostly about remembering people.
Okay.
And you know, even though Vėlinės is mostly about the death, and you know, it's definitely death is the main theme, but it's you know, when I said that it's probably the opposite thing from Halloween, it really is, because Halloween is basically, you know, a celebration, a carnival, it's a party, you know, it's everybody usually has a good time. While here, it's a lot more internalized, you know, so people just, they think about people, you know, they think about their relatives, their family, their friends who are no longer here, and you know, when you look around, I mean, that's what you see, right? I mean, it's like all the environment, all the nature is trying to tell you the same thing. You know, there are no leaves on the trees anymore, and the grass is slowly turning brown. You know, everything's kind of, you know, slowly dying, getting ready for winter, and that's a perfect time to, you know, to think about that kind of stuff.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thanks for your help.
Yeah, sure.
Of course, I was here in Lithuania on Vėlinės on the 1st and 2nd of November. I was in Kaunas, the second largest city here in Lithuania. And along the main pedestrian street, Laisvės alėja, there were candles that lined the sort of pedestrian walkway in what they called the River of Souls. It was really beautiful. There were tons of people there, the most people I have seen in one place in Lithuania in the 4 and a bit months that I've been here. But it was a really nice family atmosphere, very interesting. I'm so grateful to be here in Lithuania, learning about a country that perhaps I would never have learned so much about before. Beautiful traditions and customs and a culture that is very rich, and I'm just so grateful for all of you that have sent messages, giving recommendations, for those of you that talked about this holiday beforehand, offered to help with these interviews. So thank you so much. I cannot share enough gratitude for those of you that are along on this journey with me. It's really an adventure, a privilege to get to know a country so closely. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. It really supports my channel, and I will see you next time. Bye.